So this is the header root predicate factory. So like that, we have different roots with now the root could be anything. It could be a global filter, gateway filter, but predicate root predicate factory. That's what we usually call, because these are predicates. That's the keyword that we use. And I talked about after root, before root, between cookie, header root, host root. You also have an option wherein which kind of hosts you want to really accept. Let's say uh, this is the pattern that you want something like, let's say Chase Bank, blah blah blah, or your internal whatever, and don't want other uh, hosts, then you can use this. The root matches if the request has a host header with a specific value. Let's say that's your requirement. Now we also have something called method root predicate factory. Let's say you want this root to only accept a get or a post call, then you use the method root predicate factory, and you observe on the method get or post. Okay, and we also have path root predicate factory, wherein you define path slash we have the endpoints, right? Slash blah 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 red, and then slash only has to come, slash blue slash green. So list of string path matcher patterns, and an optional flag called match trailing slash defaults to true. Okay. Now this root matches, for example, red 1 or red 2 slash or red blue and green. If ఇంకా is set to అంటే ఇది you can leave this if match trailing slash is set to false. This I'll have to go to, but leave it. Query is related. Query is green. If the query is Vishwa, then it will not allow. It expects the green. That's one way. Or here it case uh, query parameters with two values. Oh, this is a red query parameter whose value, where query red is equal to green, some value. Then this is root remote address. This is modifying the way remote addresses are resolved. You can ignore it. The wait root predication predicate factory. So this is primarily used in terms of how we wait 80% of the traffic to one of the endpoint and 20% to the other. That's a wait root predicate factory. X forwarded remote address route. So if you have to forward to remote address, route predicate takes a list of sources, cider list untadi, IPv4 or IPv6, and then this route predicates allows the request to be filtered based on this. Used with reverse proxy, it should only be allowed if it comes. Yeah, you may have a trusted list of IP, right? So that this actually helps a lot in stopping the unwanted traffic, or someone is trying to hack you, because you define like you requests come from this, because you have a DMGA, then load balancer, you know the routes, right? So that way the request is coming from there, then it will allow. Okay, this is about the route predicate factory. Okay, we also implemented the gateway filter factories. Now it's just like this, same thing, but these are gateways. So route filters, route filters allow the modification of the incoming HTTP request or outgoing HTTP response in some manner. So these are a lot of built-in gateway filter factories. Okay. No, 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 no. Just for a good, just remember just four of them, key things, and then just tell about it. Now, this is an add request header. So let's say in your request, you have some request, but you need to forward use a header. So then it automatically adds this header x request hyphen red with the value blue. In the down when it goes to the downstream here example.org. Okay. Then application requested is aware of the URI will be used to match. Uh, so this is from a match standpoint. Okay, blue, whatever it is. Let's say here you add this headers, and you have a predicate which has to match to slash red slash whatever that value. E pattern this is replaced. So if it is not present, that's another condition. This is add request parameter gateway filter makes a name value pair. The following configuration add request parameter name value pair. This will add red is equal to blue to the downstream request query string for all matching requests. So the add response. So if you get a response, now I want to send it back in the response. Like example, token. Token is sent to you. You get back a token. You know from which ID it is coming, right? Which client is hitting. Now it will go to you and you may not send it back. But I want that to be tracked and then add back, right? So I can manually add a token. The client ID who is generating the token. I can add it here. The key value pair. Oh, this is an important good one, circuit breaker. People usually ask this. Now the Spring Cloud Circuit Breaker Gateway Filter Factory uses the Spring Cloud Circuit Breaker APIs to wrap gateway routes in a circuit breaker. It supports multiple libraries that can be used with Spring Cloud Gateway, like Resilience 4G out of the box. This is it takes some time, but we'll have to find out what it exactly means. We can just park this on the side because this is a very standard question circuit breaker from a this thing. Stripping the circuit breaker codes. Okay. Now this is cache. Some situations necessitate reading the request body. Since the request can be read only once, we need to cache the request body. You can use cache request body filter to cache the request body before sending it downstream and getting the body from the exchange attribute. So we have a bean, it has a root, builder rows, cache request root, downstream. So request root, it's a load balancer downstream. This is the path. Body class is java.string cache request body. I think this is the one. I didn't implement it. Extracts the request body and converts into a body class of type string. Okay, just you can just add some of these things. Okay, this is all filter. Filter is pretty long. See, rewrite the request header, rewrite the response header. This is the set request header, etc. Okay. Once this is done, we also have something like global filters. Now it's just interface. This has the same signature as gateway filter. These are special filters that are conditionally applied to all routes. Now, let's say I want something special. It should be applied to all the routes in my YAML. So I can just put this. When a request matches a route, the filtering web handler adds all instances of global filter and route specific instances to the filter chain. This combined filter chain is sorted by this order interface. You can implement get order method. The gateway filter, yeah, these are like metrics. Like sometimes you want to get the route ID, the route URL, the HTTP status and status code, right? Maybe for logging purpose, you can just have this and have it enabled. Then netty route filtering. Oh, netty route filter. The netty route. One second. Netty HTTP. Huh? No. That is totally different. There's a reactive load balancer, row and WebSocket and etc. So you can leave it. HTTP headers filter. HTTP headers filters are applied to the request before sending them the downstream, such as netty router. Okay, so forward. So these are things TLS and SSL. Now you want to enable the gateway can listen for requests on HTTPS by following the usual Spring Server configuration. So how to set up the Spring Server configuration? You just put that server and then the SSL you say enable a true key alias. You have an alias, then you have a password, and then the key store where it is stored, and this is the PKCS12 format. That way you can just set up and it is SSL enabled. You can route you can route gateway routes to both HTTP and HTTPS backends. So if you're routing to a HTTPS backend, you can configure the gateway to trust all doubt. So in your case, you also had HTTPS, right? So it was set true. Uh, like that's why we were able to access your provider. uh, TLS handshake. Yeah, so when an SSL happens, you may have a choice of how much handshake you want, how much milliseconds you want this timeout, and how much uh, your service have to somehow timeout, right? It can't be infinite. So you technically put some 10 seconds, 3 seconds, 30 seconds. That's what is this configuration about. Any configuration. Hmm. Omitted it. Again, so this is global timeouts, pre-route timeouts, reactor netty access logs. This is important. So how do I know whether your service is up running? So the slash gateway activator endpoint lets you monitor and interact with the Spring Cloud Gateway application. Okay, to be remotely accessible. So that's what this is exposed and enabled and exposed over HTTP or JMX in the application properties. So you have option. It is default enabled to true, and this one web exposure include is equal to gateway, means now these all are exposed now. It gets probably what are the filters, what are the route filters that it supports, what are the routes which are there. That's it about, we are both retrieving the filter, global filters. Cloud cache. Now if you want to retrieve a route out of a particular route, you can simply do a get call on the activator and then pull this. Sharing routes between multiple gateway instances. Okay, that's it. This is all about um, the gateway filter factory. So I think we have the notes, right? These are the things, and then you talk about the routes, the predicate. Okay, then we talk about the filter. Within predicate, you can possibly talk about cookies, uh, predicate after, then predicate before, right? Predicate between. Then in the filters, in the filters, you can talk about forwarding headers, adding headers. Okay, remove header, response header, add header, then remove response headers. Then add response header, uh, add request header, add response header. I think that should be enough. Local response cache, modify request body. Yeah, modify response body. Then circuit breaker. Okay, filter is global. Next, filter factories. Okay, gateway filter. Then is route predicator. Yeah, this is how we use it. And That's it. About how we write the code and everything, probably I'll do a POC later, and I can explain. Uh, Secure set status. Yeah, yeah. Other than, oh, the risk, you can't risk it, right?